Welcome to Season 3 of Titans of Food Service. I'm your host, Nick Portillo, and I'm thrilled to take you on our 50 States in 50 Weeks tour. Each week, I'm going to highlight a Titan of Food Service from a different state, sharing their unique stories and insights. And for this week, we're headed down to the vibrant state of Louisiana, where food is more than just a meal, it's a way of life. My guest today is none other than Bill DePaola. He's the president of the Lime Truck. The Lime Truck has not only been featured on Food Network's The Greatest Food Truck Race, but they've also clinched the championship title twice. That's right. They won season 2, and they also won the season of All Stars as well. So pretty impressive. In this episode, Bill and I delve into the financials and operations of owning and operating a franchise business. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or you're just curious about the food service industry, I think you're going to find a lot of valuable insights in our conversation. What I really enjoy about Bill is he's very open. He talks about really getting into the numbers, the nitty gritty of the financials, what it looks like to run a franchise business, and it's very fascinating. I love how, and I mentioned this in the episode as well. I mentioned how open and honest he is, and I think you'll find that it's a nice breath of fresh air listening to Bill. But before we dive into the interview, I want to talk about what makes the Louisiana food service scene truly unique. So Louisiana is known for its rich culinary traditions. It's a melting pot of flavors and cultures. From the spicy kick of Creole and Cajun dishes to the fresh seafood straight from the Gulf of Mexico, the state's cuisine is a celebration of its diverse heritage. Iconic dishes like gumbo, jambalaya, and beignets, those are just the beginning. The vibrant food festivals, bustling markets, and a strong sense of community all contribute to a food scene that's as lively and soulful as the music that fills the air. Me personally, I've actually been to Louisiana twice. I've been to both times I went to New Orleans, and then I also went to Baton Rouge as well for an LSU football game, which was amazing. What a cool experience. So, without further ado, let's go. Let's get ready to invite Bill. I think you're going to enjoy our conversation, and let's jump right in. All right, Bill, welcome to the Titans of Food Service. I appreciate you taking time to come on and talk with me.
Absolute pleasure, my friend.
So you're out in Louisiana. Is that where you're at?
That is correct.
What
Down
took you
here
to
in
what took you
the
to
other
Louisiana?
LA. Oh, what took me to Louisiana? Well, it's real simple. It's right there. You marry a girl from New Orleans, you will live in New Orleans. I lovingly refer to it as we compromised and did what she said.
Amazing. Where'd you grow up?
I'm born and raised in New York City. So my family, when my father came to America and his family, they were in the Bronx. My mother is born and raised in Guatemala City. And then they moved to a little town right on the northern border of the Bronx. We lived between being in Co-op City in like the very beginning years of my life to being in Pelham Manor. And so spent a bunch of time in New York City and in Westchester County.
Does that make you a Yankee fan?
Oh, absolutely. So I have, funny enough, very few allegiances to like New York teams. I really do love the Knicks. And
Yeah.
I'm a glutton for punishment because they have
Yeah.
not done anything, but there's always hope. Yeah, I like the Rangers. Was not like the biggest Rangers fan. I have been, of
Yeah.
all things, a Boston Bruins fan. I
Wow.
can't explain that other than that one. So actually, when I was a kid, WSBK TV 38 was they had like I used to watch Transformers and other like stuff when I was a little kid, and so
Yeah.
after that would come like Bruins games and other Boston programming because it was WSBK TV. And so I started watching hockey while I was in my basement in my parents' house and pretending that I was Pete Peters and winning the Stanley Cup, which they never did actually in that area. That era, they did not win it then.
That's funny. I'm actually a New York sports fan myself. Rangers, Knicks. I mean, they're lower on the list for me because I'm just not a huge basketball or hockey fan. But I love the Yankees. Big fan for
Los
sure.
Yankees.
That's
Uh,
right.
I have my firstborn son, his maybe 3-4 minute old footprints that are emblazoned on a T-shirt that is in a shadow box that hangs on his wall to this day that says, "You have Yankees envy." So clearly, I am a very big Yankees fan.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. That's so
Oh yeah.
cool. Well, talk to me. How did you get into food service?
So much like most people who get involved in theater and the performance arts, you do food
Yeah.
because that's apparently what we do. I had done acting and directing. I had done directing in college and in grad school.
Hmm.
Really enjoyed that aspect of the theater and sort of being a part of the coordination of it all. I actually used to also do fight choreography and fight direction. Strange fun fact, I did the fight choreography for Mindy Kaling for a show she did off Broadway called Matt and Ben. Small world that this is, but
Yeah.
yeah, I used to really enjoy that a lot. And obviously worked in restaurants like many people do, and just got addicted to it. And I remember so well the day that I told a guy who was the general manager at the time, Jeff Hubling. He was the general manager of the Ruth's Chris in Manhattan I was working at. And I remember telling him, I was like, man, I really love this. I really love this. I really think I could do this. And I remember the look on his face so well when he said, Bill, don't. Bill, just don't. Like, if you can do something else, do it. But if you just can't, go in like 10 toes in when you're standing on business. So I was absolutely 10 toes in. Couldn't help it. Had to do it. And I've
That's
been doing it ever
amazing.
since.
And talk to me about your newest venture with the Lime Truck.
So Lime Truck is, as you can see, clearly I love lime.
Yep.
Lime Truck is, it's an outstanding business. So like, again, I told you, I'm a child of Guatemalan and Sicilian immigrants. I am a very big fan of entrepreneurial
Hmm.
uh, efforts. And so, what I like so much about our work at the Lime Truck, which is a combination between myself and a gentleman named Daniel Shemtab. Daniel, he's the founder. He really came up with the concept, and
Yeah.
he was the second season Food Truck Wars winner on Food Network.
Wow.
And then he competed again as the Food Truck Wars All Stars, and he was the winner there as well. Daniel clearly knows a whole lot about running a food truck, and he's got incredible skill culinarily. He's an entrepreneur himself. He has many businesses that he is part of. One restaurant, Hot Yakitori, out in Irvine. He was a part of the co-founding group for that. And he runs a company called Snibs, which is a shoe company. It's actually like if you've ever seen a Shoes for Crews, the non-slip shoes that people wear
Mm.
in the kitchen,
Yeah.
take those and make them really friggin' stylish, and that's what he does. And so it's a lot of fun working with a guy like that. He loves being an entrepreneur. I love being an entrepreneur. I am
Sure.
not only a franchisor, being part of the Lime Truck, but I'm also a franchisee. So I have 4 units of a concept called Chicken Salad Chick that
Mhm.
my wife and I run together. There's about like 290 units of Chicken Salad Chick throughout the Southeast.
Wow.
So we have a few of those. And I just believe in small business ownership. And what I love about the Lime Truck is that the Lime Truck is small business ownership that is accessible to people who come from my background, who are first generation Americans that don't have a tremendous amount of money to be able to put into a business, but are looking to, bootstrap for themselves.
Sure.
It is rare that you get a system around something that is that financially accessible because the all-in, investment is somewhere around $275,000. You go to do that with a brick and mortar, you're easily, I mean, every one of the chicken salad chicks I'm doing is $1 million plus. Well,
Yeah.
about $900,000. And so that's a lot of money when you think about trying to get that. But finding 250, 275. I mean, the SBA's minimum is 250, 275. So you can find it there. There's a lot of other non-traditional lending institutions that will work with first generation Americans to be able to afford, their own business opportunity, and it's just unique. If you've ever been in a restaurant, even in a QSR, there's still a little bit of formality of you walk up to a window, they say, hi, can I take your order, in whatever form or
Sure.
fashion that they may do it. Or in a full restaurant where, it's the tablecloth over there, the little napkin, how may I help you today? I'd like to be your flavor ambassador, like all that, corporate jargon
Yeah.
crap. We don't do that in the food truck. Food truck is like, it's clearly it suits my personality. You can be loose,
Yeah.
that you break that sort of fourth wall of like formality that you have with a guest, and you can talk with them and have a lot of fun. And I mean, we're not serving like a filet mignon with a marchand de vin. It's tacos, y'all. It's tacos and quesadillas and Cali Mex tacos at that, and they're really, really good. And so the process is simple. It's really fun, great food, and frankly, it produces financially. So there's a lot of ways in which you can build yourself up from 1 units to 2 units to 5 units relatively quickly to scale, and we've proven that, and it's a great model for people who want to really start to build their own wealth and build generational wealth, and I believe in that a lot.
Yeah, that's amazing. I like what you said about the scale part of it as well. Talk to me about, so you make your initial, you're mentioning, you said 275 to get into a
Yeah.
lime truck, or your chicken salad chicks, is that what it's called?
Yes, chicken salad chick's about 1 million.
That's
uh
about 1,000,000 to get in. So
yeah.
you put the money up, whether you get a loan maybe from the SBA or for somebody else, maybe even personal,
Yep.
um, and you start running the business. How much would someone expect to make from, maybe on a yearly basis doing, running something like this, running a franchisee?
So that's the great thing about again, smaller scale businesses. You can really ramp up what you can achieve in a very short period of time with a low investment. The sales to investment ratio on our business is pretty tight.
Okay.
So you can go our current EBITDA, the financials that we display. So in franchising, you have to have your financials audited in order to do what is called a financial performance representation. If you're going to do an item 19, which is the FPR. It's an audited set of financials. Ours are audited by the state of California, and we EBITDA at around 23% per truck.
Okay.
So if you're, somewhere in the neighborhood of 450 to $500,000 worth of sales, you can imagine the idea of bringing in about 23% of that at EBITDA line, earnings before taxes, interest, depreciation, and amortization. And so it's really quite a skinny model and can produce very well. And again, we're we're voted number one, food truck concept in certainly, in Irvine and according to Food Network America. So to have that kind of name backing, to have really quality chef-driven recipes that you can easily produce, that's it's just hard to do, and we managed to capture it all. So it's a lot of fun. And again, I'm just very passionate about franchising.
Sure.
I'm part of the legislative action group for the International Franchise Association.
Wow.
I lobby, Congress. I go to different events in order to speak with members of Congress and senators and whoever's here I can bend to talk about the model that is franchising because I love it so much. And we participate there as well. I'm a Fran Pack contributor. I speak often at the International Franchise Association conferences. I just believe in the ability to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself. The
Hmm.
format, the systems that we provide help entrepreneurs, even ones like me, because I'm currently doing that myself.
Amazing. So taking the lime truck, right? You mentioned you can make 450, maybe let's just say $500,000 in revenue a year at
Mhm.
23% EBITDA. Does that require you as to be an operator within the business? Do you have to be there every day
Oh,
working and serving customers?
yeah, you are there. And then certainly on truck one. And it's just
Yeah.
like restaurant one. I'm there. I am 2 feet in, gotta be, present with the guest. There are little to no mailbox money franchises. You
Okay.
have to participate in many ways, and certainly in the restaurant industry. However, the other side of that is true that as you scale your business, you can be less, I'm there every day, all the time doing that work. You can have a team that supports you and supports your structure. Um, I'm clearly evidence of that. I am currently talking with you from my lovely home, which is under like constant construction here in New Orleans. But our business is based out of Southern California, out of Irvine, and we
Yeah.
operate in Irvine, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, a lot of different places. I am currently clearly not there. I
Mhm.
currently clearly have a team that is doing those things. So, yes, it's possible. I'm living it. It's a little bit skinnier for me on the profit side because I have a director of operations that's there working our trucks with our team. For a franchisee, they would likely not do that. They would likely be sort of that director of operations themselves. They would have individual crew chiefs that would run the individual crews on trucks, on events. And they would do what mostly my director of operations does right now. He doesn't work directly in the business. He does when necessary, but most of the time he's there overseeing. He'll go visit a site, make sure they're performing to standard, do a quality check, do a food safety check. We have a series of checks that we do not only every single event, but then when we audit the business per month in order to make sure that we're performing to standard. And he does a lot of that in order to ensure that the business is growing and that we're satisfying guests. That's mostly what the franchisee's life would be after they get two, three, or four. That's what my life is. I
Yeah.
don't work every day in my stores, but I am every day present in one of my stores, talking with guests, building business, going out into the community, being at PTA functions, donating food. Those are the ways in which business is made. You have to be a part of the fabric of your community.
I love that. You mentioned truck one, restaurant one. To get to two, three, four, and five, do you go back to maybe an SBA lender, or can you loan money against truck number one? How does that work to be able to get more units?
You can. In general, you should expect that first, second, you're probably going to be looking at loans, and then third, fourth, and beyond, you're probably going to be able to fund that out of the business operations itself.
Okay.
I experienced that on Lime Truck side, and I experienced that as a franchisee for the chicken salad chicks side. Many of the franchisees that I'm also talking with that are part of the system along with me are doing that very same thing. Store one, hey, we'll build out in like Blake and Shay Fuller, who are out in Flowood, Mississippi. Store one, they're getting loans and working with partners. Store two, they're doing the same thing. Well, their store three, they not only bought the dirt, but they built the building and they own the business and they funded it out of stores one and two. That's a common theme throughout the two systems that I'm a part of, and systems that are successful can generally do that very same thing.
What about a concept that, you have one, let's take the example of the lime truck. They start in Irvine, maybe they have one truck here, they're on some television shows. What's the foundation of the framework to start a franchisee model?
Well, number one, as I have learned from experience, I do, and this probably is, it could be just my limitation,
Yeah.
but I have not yet experienced an opportunity or a time where you can just go anywhere
Yeah.
and open up and that's going to work. It doesn't really work that way. It rarely works well in that scenario for the franchisee and the franchisor, because for the most part you have no name recognition, you have no stability. There's the cost for a franchisor to go from Irvine, California out to like Bangor, Maine, or like New York City or something like that. That's expensive. And you're not going to get the kind of day-to-day, week-to-week support that you really need in order to build a structure. I believe in the growth within concentric circles model.
Mhm.
I've participated in it significantly and seen the success. I have been part of teams that thought that we were bigger than our britches, and we went out and did things where you would say, hey, I don't know that we have a whole lot of name recognition and support there. And guess what we did? We failed. And it's wrong. It's wrong-headed on a lot of different avenues. But we make a promise when we're in franchising. The promise is that we're going to be there for you. We're going to support you. We have systems, we have processes, and we have somebody that you can call, that 3 a.m. phone call going, my God, what do I do? And without having some basis of strength, you can't really be that for a franchisee. So we're going to grow in the same exact way with the lime truck. We're growing throughout the Southern California area, and areas where we know we have name recognition. We've created brand recognition in Las Vegas and in Arizona. We want to grow throughout that area. That's a start. I also am looking at the potential of growing through here in New Orleans, because I have name recognition and I have built up a network here in New Orleans. So the ability to build along that ridge that goes from Southern California to Southern Louisiana is kind of where we're looking to grow.
Amazing. Talk to me a little bit about New Orleans. What is the food culture like there?
It is. insane. And if people they always will go with this, oh, it's the big easy, like, les éléments
Yeah.
bon rouler, let the good times roll. We're all forget that. Throw that the hell out the window when you're competing in food. Because if you can compete in food here, you are in a fight to the death.
I'm
And it's
sure.
hard. I mean, you've got so many people that have such incredible creativity. And so you got to be good. Like, you got to come with hot, fast, and fresh on a consistent basis. And it doesn't have to be reinventing of the wheel. Actually, um, one of my favorite mentors, I worked for Dickie Brennan for about 6+ years. And the Brennan family has a long history here in South Louisiana, of incredible excellence. And Dickie and his father, Dick Sr., I remember talking with them, and I had all these delusions of grandeur. And he's just like, Bill, like, come on, man, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. This is what you do. You take a wheel that you like, you smooth it so that it doesn't have any rough edges, and just make it roll. Trust me, just make the wheel roll. And he is so friggin' right. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time, but you do have to make it roll smooth. And that's harder than one would think.
Yeah, I believe it. Talk to me about the wheel running smooth there in New Orleans. Like, or is it New Orleans or New Orleans? I
Yeah,
say it.
so it's New Orleans. It's New Orleans. I'm, again, born and raised in New York.
Yeah.
I've been here now for almost. So I've been here since 2003. So we're getting on 22 years.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Look, I feel like I'm a native. Okay, they might not feel like I'm a native, spending that much time. But I do. I mean, I had my house get destroyed in Katrina. We were here in 2003. We were in Lakeview
Wow.
in 2005. And at the time, I gave my wife the in-ground swimming pool that she never wanted, because we were about 5 houses away from the 17th Street Canal break, and everything just got completely destroyed. And so I feel that, having been here this long, and being baptized by the waters that were Katrina, I feel like a local and a native. But most people in New Orleans would be like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Where'd you go to high school? Oh, it wasn't here. No, sorry,
No,
bud.
it's all right. So, if you were to take the lime truck concept, right, out in New Orleans, and you wanted to smooth the wheel, kind of how Dickie Brennan was telling you,
Yep.
what would that look like?
So I know for sure it means great, consistent operations.
Okay.
And great operations does a few things well. You have to live the life cycle of food well to live up to the expectation here in New Orleans. Order well, receive well, store well, prep well, and produce well. And in order to do that, uh, we have to have great sourcing. So it would require some local providers here that are going to be able to help me, create great sourcing. Um, I I have experienced this problem of having a great product that is produced locally that you cannot get produced the same way nationally. So I would have to work with local providers in order to be able to help me do that. And I think we have some. Um, Certainly there's a really strong food culture here in New Orleans, but it's an entirely other thing to produce things that we need together in a marriage. It takes relationship to be able to do that. I'm very specific on flavor profile. So is my partner. In fact, he's probably more specific than I am. So we would have to have great partnership with local providers and local vendors in order to do well here.
Amazing. When you look into the future for what you want to achieve, what is something that you look forward to or hope to achieve in your career but haven't yet done so?
Okay. Have done so in other franchise systems, want very much to do so in this one because I have so much more control over it than I had before. I really long to be at that franchise conference with franchisees of Lime Truck, and to have, many of them coming up to me, thanking me for being a part of their lives and what I was able to contribute, what we were able to contribute to helping them build generational wealth. That is a pleasure like no other. I still, so I work for, here in South Louisiana, the Ballard Brothers and Ballard Brands. Ballard Brands is the owner of PJ's Coffee of New Orleans. And I love PJs and the PJs franchisees like no other. I mean, they're just wonderful, wonderful human beings. And having been a part of their lives and seeing their success and helping them grow and having them call me, because there have been times, I mean, there genuinely were times getting that 3 a.m. phone call. I'm the chief operating officer and getting the call of them saying, Bill, I don't know if we're going to make it. And then us going down as a team and helping out franchisees, and then having them turn around to where we genuinely, this, I swear on my life, happened. We go, we're talking with them about how to build the business. We put a plan together. They went from, hey, we're kind of getting close to losing it here, to franchisee of the year. And that was through, again, incredible partnership, teamwork, humility, respect. All of those things are really part and parcel with great franchising. And on both sides, franchisee and franchisor. And I want that again. I want that a lot. And it's just a thrill like no other.
What about any new beliefs, habits, or behaviors that you've learned over the last 5 years that has really transformed your life? One thing I've appreciated from our conversation is you're pretty open. Talking about even giving specific on your revenue numbers, your EBITDA. Mentioning some of the people that have helped you along the way and your experiences. I'm curious what that would be for you.
Humility, more humility. If I have learned anything, it's that I genuinely was more arrogant and self-centered than I realized. And the need to drive home patience, understanding, and most of the problem was my own. um,
Wow.
Achieving more of that is going to bring me that much more success, because it has already brought me to a place where I'm that much better for other people, because I have more respect. And it's made me a better husband. It's made me better to myself. It's made me better to my kids, to the employees that count on me, to the franchisees that count on me. Because when I didn't have that, what what it created was a very disassociative view that I had, that didn't allow me to fully understand someone's problem. And if I can't fully understand someone's problem, I can't truly be a part of someone's success, because I don't really know what their conditions are. And I did that a lot. um, uh, it really sucks to fail. It really, really sucks. I hate it. I hate
Yeah.
it. And failing other people is even worse, because I count on my word. Someone really believed in me in order to take a chance on what it is that I told them that was going to be the right thing to do. And failing that sucks. So I feel the weight of that, and that's where the thing that's really transformed me is humility.
Is there an event or something that took place in your life where humility became more to the forefront, where you started as like a changing moment?
Oh yeah. So and my wife would say the same if she were sitting here with me. I think her cancer diagnosis really
Wow.
changed the game on me. It was significant. She had stage 3 colon cancer, and and she's in remission now, 3 plus years. And it it was really it was hard. One of the things that I learned when I stared myself in the mirror was, first of all, I wasn't in the physical shape that I wanted to be in, and I wasn't in the mental shape that I wanted to be in. There were so many things where I was behind. I remember looking at her and saying, "Look, you really need to be very selfish right now. You need to focus in on this thing that just happened to you, and you need to have full time, best effort, concentration on doing that. I got this. I got everything else. Don't worry about it." Dude, I so did not got this. Like, I did not have it at all. I was not even close. And so I had to learn so much of what she took on, not only as running the family business that is DePaola and Company, but also being able to provide for our home, financially, for everything. I had so much to learn, and I didn't realize how far behind I was. I didn't realize how much I left on her shoulders as a husband throughout our marriage. And that really, like, that was a lot. That was a lot. Like,
Yeah.
just being honest, there were times where I really I cried, because I was like, man, I really God, I sucked sometimes. And so going through that process really changed a lot in me. And I learned to be a better husband and provider. I learned to be more understanding of other people's struggles. Man, that was something else. That was really something else. I went through about a year, maybe like 9 months of where I was like single dad. And to every single mother or single parent out there, holy crap! I have so much humility and respect for that. I
Yeah.
8 months and I'm tapping out. I'm like, oh my god, please someone help! Thank God you're feeling better. Please help me with like. I mean, I was dying. That's
Yeah.
hard work, and I learned a lot of respect for that. More than I've ever had. So that event changed everything. I went from about 263 pounds to right now where I'm at about 200 pounds.
Wow.
I work out every day. I'm on an 800 and like I'm on an 800 and like 10 or 812 day streak of working out every single day. And it's just changed me. It's changed so much. And so I'm very grateful for it. It was a very, very, very hard time, but I'm really grateful for what happened.
Yeah. Well, one, thanks for sharing, and I'm so grateful to hear that your wife's in remission. I think that's amazing, and and kudos to you just for just being vulnerable and being open. I think a lot of times we maybe bottle up things, but it's helpful to share.
Yeah, if we don't honestly start talking about some of this stuff, we're not
Yeah.
we can't grow.
Yeah.
And I think that fear of exposure that also was my problem too. And I've learned a lot from it.
Amazing. For all those out there that are listening, if you had just one thought or one mantra or one advice that you would give to people who are hungry, who want to grow in their careers in food service or whatever it may be, what advice would you give to them?
Two pieces of advice.
Okay.
One from one of my favorite people, Catherine Munson. She is the CEO of Propelled Brands. Catherine is a fantastic human being. Um, and Catherine said to me, and has said, multiple times over, success is a function of the brilliant execution of the basic fundamentals.
Hmm.
And I completely agree with her on that. And then one that I have learned, I don't believe that anybody else has this quote. I believe that this is mine, but I certainly live by it now, and I've learned it over the past 4 or 5 years. Do not expect anything from anyone you do not first serve. If you don't serve their interests and come with humility, then don't expect them to serve yours.
All right. I love that. That Can you repeat the quote from Catherine Munson again?
Absolutely. Success is a function of the brilliant execution of the basic fundamentals. And I really like the word choice of function because, in many ways, it's not like people think it's such a mystery. It's not a mystery. Just execute your basic fundamentals
Hmm.
brilliantly. Like I talked about. That's why I talked about the life cycle of food. That's a
Yeah.
very basic thing you're taught when you start running a restaurant. But you would be so surprised at how many people don't order well. I mean, if you don't order well, you don't have the product you need, or you have too much of the product that you need, and you're either wasting it and it's showing up in your food costs, or you don't have enough of it and it's also showing up in your food costs because you got to go buy from the grocery store to fix the problem that you have. And you create a whole host of issues when you don't plan that out well. You don't have food protection, you don't have food safety. There's a ton of things that go wrong with not ordering well, not receiving it well, and just making sure that you don't take in a broken package, making sure you store it well and don't let the temperature rise or fall, or how do you monitor that your systems are working properly to properly cool or thaw your product. um, Prep it well, produce it well. All of those things all show up at your bottom line, but such simple, basic structural foundation of running a business.
Yeah.
Just execute it brilliantly.
I think those two quotes that you gave tied in perfectly into our conversation. I could see like it definitely aligns with your viewpoints, and I think that's really cool. When you said that's why I wanted you to repeat it again. I've never heard that quote before, and I definitely, um, I like it a lot. And again, I think it just tied in perfectly into our conversation. So thank you for that.
You are very, very welcome. Catherine is an incredible person and a great mentor to me, and is a wonderful advocate for franchising.
What's the best way to learn more about the Lime Truck, contact you, find out more? How can people connect with you?
So you can go to the website limetruck.com, and you will see who we are there. If you look about us, and you can see our entire executive leadership team. And you can also request for franchising opportunities there. Know that for sure I would love to go everywhere in the world, but I think that it's best to focus in on an area where I know that we can create great support. So for anybody listening, if you're in the Southern California, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico area, those are areas that are going to be favorable. And certainly in Texas and Louisiana, we have a lot of leverage and strength there.
And this is a trick question, or not so much a trick question, but may not know the answer.
I like it.
The food truck wars seasons that the Lime Truck was on, do you know what season numbers those were?
I don't know what season numbers, but I do know it's season 2, and it
Season 2?
is, I believe, season 8. I think it's season 8 was the All Stars one.
Oh,
And Daniel also is regularly asked to be a contributor on Food Network, so you'll see him in various and sundry roles there as well.
gotcha. All right. Well, Bill, thank you so much for doing this. I really enjoyed our conversation. I learned so much. What I found in doing these interviews, I always pick up like one or two nuggets. On this one, I think I got like 10. So thank you.
You're very welcome. It truly is my pleasure. It's just too much fun to do.
Good. Well, thank you so much.